but most people don't actually really have that conception of the fact that they're going to die. Like most people are kind of living like they're going to live forever. You know, they go, oh yeah, that'll happen one day, but I'm not going to think about it now. But when you actually have a diagnosis to say, you know what, I know that I'm going to die within a few years or whatever it is, how do you accept that idea?
I think part of it is finding the reason you were put on the face of this earth and living that reason. When I 2020, I had my left leg amputated and also found out that I have tumors in my lungs from my cancer. And when I heard that, I went to the mortuary, I went to the cemetery, I went to the church, and I planned my funeral. And I got some brushback from some people. They're like, you always talk about, motivation and things like that. Don't you think that's kind of, sort of an anticlimactic thing? And I'm like, well, last time I checked, everybody's going to die. I don't think anybody's working on a
Yeah.
cure for life right now.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to die, but not everybody is going to live. And I think the death part of it isn't nearly as scary, certainly not for me, if you actually live your life. And I recall a Native American Blackfoot proverb that I heard years ago that I just love. And it goes like this: when you were born, you cried and the world rejoiced. Live
Yeah.
your life in such a way so that when you die, the world cries and you rejoice. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. And I think the important words in that saying are live your life.
Mm.
Get out there and live it. So many people live a casual life.
Yeah.
And because of that, their goals, their dreams, their aspirations become a casualty of that unplanned living. So I would just say, if you get out and live your life, if you live your life with an open heart, death is not nearly as scary when it comes. And it's certainly coming for me, probably fairly quickly.
Yeah, I think that's really, really interesting when there's such a difference between, like, if you consider, like, let's say someone young who's in school or whatever, they think, well, okay, now I need to study for like 6 years and then I've got to establish myself in the career and then I've got to have kids. And it's kind of like, it's like they can see already all these things that they're supposed to do, that's kind of laid out, and they kind of maybe feel stuck in that. But when you're suddenly in that moment where you're like, well, you know what, I only maybe have a couple of years. For me, I feel like that's a huge difference in terms of how you would actually focus on your life, because, like you said, a lot of people are really kind of stuck. They don't really, they live casually, simply because I think there's a lot of expectation on people to do certain things. So for you, when that happened to you, when you had that diagnosis, did that change you a lot in terms of your focus on your life?
I don't think so. I had always kind of, wanted to do and felt like I did find my purpose. I felt my purpose was to be in law enforcement, and I think my purpose now is to put as much goodness, as much positivity, as much love back into the world as I possibly can with whatever time I have left. So, I mean, I think people, a lot of times we talk about people's purpose as it has to be their job. This is, I'm going to be an accountant, or I'm going to take over the family business, or I'm going to be a lawyer, whatever it ends up being.
Mm.
And I guess it's important, I think, to distinguish that your purpose does not have to be your job. Your job could be over here. It's what you do to pay the bills, but your purpose or your why is to write, or to be an activist, or, to paint, or whatever it is you feel you're supposed to do. And I always tell people, especially young people, if there's something in your heart, something in your soul that you believe you're supposed to do, but it scares you, go ahead and do it. Because at the end of your life, the things that you're going to regret are not going to be the things you did. They're going to be the things you didn't do. And by then it's going to be too late to go back and do them.